do is put on off the lights behind the door there.
Yeah.
Okay. And the first one here. Only the first one there. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. Oy. The opposite. I'm so sorry. Well, something went wrong with the internet here. Something went wrong with the internet. Something went terribly wrong. Terribly wrong with the internet. Terribly wrong. Very, very sorry. You guys have been waiting. My apologies. My apologies. So something went wrong with the internet. The internet somebody messed up with it. Somebody messed up with the internet in my house. So welcome everyone. Thank God that we're back again. We're back again. And, please go and share the link. Let's go share the link. Let's go share the link. Please go, everybody, let's go share the link. Let's go share the link this morning. As you are coming in, please go ahead and share the link. Let's go share the link. Let's go share the link. Did you people get notification? How did you know that I'm here now? Did you get notification? Is notification going out? Did you get the notification at all? How do you know I'm there now? Any notification? Please tell me. Answer that question for me. Was there any notification for you this morning? Just now when I came on? I just wonder how all of you got to know that I'm here, and we have almost over 80 people already. So I was just wondering, were you waiting for me to come? No notification. Are you? So how did you know I'm here? No notification, because I heard that notification is not always going out. Just now. Did you get any notification just now? Somebody got, some people didn't get. Okay, well, let's go share the link. Some people got, some people didn't get it, but you are still here. Wonderful. Let's go share the link. The topic of today is going to be very interesting, very interesting. I'm talking today about how inferiority complex could hinder or could hamper your calling. How inferiority complex could hamper your calling. How inferiority complex could hamper your calling. Now, I have someone here, and one of the students, one of the medical students, who is here and in Ukraine studying, and he told me his story. And that story is a typical story of what people go through, especially in Africa, and also in abusive homes in Europe and all over the world. And because of inferiority complex, some people can never come to understand their calling. That book that I wrote, Who Am I? And Why Am I Here? One of the topics that it deals with is inferiority complex. So we're also talking about how to deal with inferiority complex, the complexes and feelings of guilt and things like that. So that book is very detailed. It details all kind of situations that people go through. And but here we have a case at hand. We have a study case of how inferiority complex could go so bad. So let me introduce to you Success. Yes. Success will, do I say come forward a little bit? Or no, I think go backward a little bit. I don't even know what to do. Okay, it's okay, don't worry. Yeah, Success, introduce yourself to us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Success Fakolade. I'm a medical student here in Ukraine, currently studying my final year. And I'm from Southwest Nigeria. So I'm a Nigerian.
Okay. And, we were talking about the situation. I was talking about my own situation yesterday.
Yes.
Maybe some of you people were probably there in the morning and you listened to my story. If you listen to my story in the morning, what I was talking about was the fact that I suffered a lot with my childhood growing up, and that even when people ask for my name, that I couldn't even open my mouth to say my name is Sunday Adelaja. Just by the time I begin to say my name is, I was already broken down. I will already be broken down, crying and saying, just crying. I couldn't even pronounce Sunday. I will be crying, break down. They will just say, sit down, go away. So, it was such a big complex. Like I said, when I came to university here in Ukraine, in the university you have canteen and feeding center or restaurant. Everybody needed to take their tray and go, there to pick whatever they want to eat. But I would not go and pick because I was always thinking that everybody was looking at me. I felt that the whole world, all the eyes in the world were on me. And it was such a strong inferiority complex that I will wait until everybody finishes eating and then I will go and eat. I know almost, in university, almost by that time, no food again to eat. And also, or maybe I would just tell somebody to bring the food. Even when they have brought the food to my table, I couldn't stay eat because I'm thinking everybody is looking at me. So I will just use time to take the thing and go to the toilet and eat in the toilet because such a huge embarrassment and inferiority complex that I had. And so until one day I saw an Arab guy. I was sitting there and not picking food. Everybody was eating. The people were finishing the food. And I was sitting there. I couldn't just get myself to go because each time I tried to go, I would feel as if there are thousands, all the eyes in that hall were looking at me alone. And I was so embarrassed. It would be like if my feet were going to walk into the Atlantic Ocean and I was going to sink inside. So that is how strong that complex was. So one day I saw this Arab boy carrying, the tray and going to and fro 3 times. He had gone to get food. And I'm still sitting there, I don't get it. I'm so embarrassed and ashamed of standing up. Then he was not just going to get food all up and down. He was going and making noise, because he had his friends on the table. He leaves them, goes, and while he's half the way, before he's talking right across the whole auditorium. There's like 200 to 300 people shouting, what do you want? In their language, shouting and just so free. I said, this guy is not just going 2-3 times to get food. He's just behaving as if he's a hooligan here. Nobody is even stopping him. So if somebody will just be shouting and disturbing everybody's peace, nobody even cares. So maybe these people are not even looking at me. No, they are not even seeing this one that is, behaving. As if nobody cares. I think my own situation was that in my village where I come from, if you anything you do, the whole village sees you. And the whole village tries to correct you. And everybody's, so everything I do attracts attention. But here, this guy was doing all kind of rubbish. I mean, he was eating as he goes, everything just, like I thought the whole place was supposed to go after him and just stop him. But nobody even saying anything. So I said, maybe they are not even seeing me. I'm just going quietly to get the food. Maybe nobody is looking at me. So I decided to give it a try. I said, okay, let me just try. Let me try. Then I saw that I stood up. Nobody saying anything. The world is not collapsing. But even when I started going, as I was going, I was still feeling that my legs were going to step into river or water and I was going to sink. But I was saying my legs were holding. It was holding ground. And they kept on moving and nobody interacting with me. Nobody even noticed that I was existing. So that is what the inferiority complex means. When you think that it's only about you, everybody's about, you are hung up on yourself, what people are thinking about you, what is happening to you, and everybody, but really nobody was thinking about you. Everybody is thinking about themselves. Nobody is thinking about you at all. I never knew that. Now I help people to say, don't worry about what people think. Nobody even thinking about you. Everybody is thinking only about themselves. So this book, if you don't have the book yet, you can order it. The Karen Adam Oleko is one of the people who helped me to edit it, to put the corrections in place, and Vania from London, they helped me to edit it, and but it's still not the best because we interpreted it from Russian language, but at least you can get the message. So follow the link. If you are in Africa, you can go to Okada Books, or if you are in Europe, you can go to Amazon or other things. So you see the link over there. And it will help you. So anyway, so inferiority complex, when you have inferiority complex like that, you don't really have time to think about your destiny, about your own calling. I mean, you miss the road, you are under the influence of other people, you do what other people want you to do, you cannot, stand your own ground and all kind of things. But the story that I'm hearing today might even be worse than my own to some extent. And I want to introduce you to success again. How did your own situation start? Because how did we even start to talk about when you were telling me yesterday, right? I think that was what started the situation, the thing for you. So when you heard me tell my story, I saw that you were very emotional. What did that do to you?
Thank you so much, Pastor. First of all, I must appreciate you for this opportunity. Yesterday, you were sharing about how we can see our destiny through the eyes of other people. And one of the points you raised was the fact that it could be through what people positively compliment us about, which, of course, is great if we have such people in our lives who compliment you very positively about what you do well and all of that. But towards the message, or within the message, the pastor raised another point that oftentimes you also have to take notice of what is it that everybody is kicking you about. What is it that people are constantly saying about you? What names have people given to you and all of that? And when Pastor began to recount his own life story and life experiences, I was sitting here with Pastor, and to be very honest, it was just like Pastor was replaying my life back to me. I could vividly see myself, the truth of the matter is that perhaps there are certain aspects of my life that I always don't want to unveil to people, I really don't always want to share. But then I thought that, one of the ways to really come out of certain situations and circumstances is to be able to share your story and let your story be able to help a lot of people. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to share a certain part of my story this morning. Basically for two major reasons. One is the fact that perhaps this can help many parents-children relationships. And also, more importantly, it can also help people to discover their calling in life. Like I said before, my name is Success. I was born in 1989, so currently now I'm 27 years old. When I was born, I had different circumstances that surrounded my birth, and maybe I won't go into that this morning. But
no, you tell us, because you are an unwanted child, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. At that time when I was born, I wasn't at that set time.
Your parents
the truth
were not
of the
ready.
matter, my parents weren't ready for my
child.
conception, for my birth. And that practically guided most of my childhood, really. It's guided most of my childhood. I practically felt that reaction everywhere, like that.
How do you feel it? How do you know? You are not born that time. How will you feel it?
No, like growing up as a child, the way everybody treated as a child, the things that I have to go through, the experiences, constantly it has to be like things of, rejection, like, so many of those.
How do you describe it, the rejection? Just tell us instances. What is rejection? It doesn't mean anything to me.
All right, sir. Like rejection could mean maybe something.
How do they treat you? Don't just give me the definition. What made you to feel it?
Okay, now this is it. When I was growing up, many times I had to live with my grandparents. Most of my childhood, I did so many dark areas really within my childhood that oftentimes I even try not to go there. But I had to live many times with my grandparents. They had to do most of my upbringing. They had to.
Now, what's bad about that? Some people enjoy it. That's their dream. How do you feel rejection?
Exactly.
How do you know you are rejected?
I think that the best any child will ever want in life is the presence of his parents.
That is theory. But how did you feel on your body that you are rejected?
It's okay. For example, now let's say if maybe we could have. Eventually, when I got to live with my parents, there were moments in my life when maybe a visitor was coming up something, and I could be told to excuse or to go somewhere else.
But they said that to all the children.
No, it's not. It's not every child, because there are certain times when there are children that maybe parents don't want. Maybe, for example, now if a child is handicapped or a child is, such children like that parents are not proud to exhibit, to show. And even if some parents could be doing it innocently, but the way the child will interpret it will be totally different. So oftentimes maybe you are constantly telling a child to go in or not to be seen and all of that. It's going to do a lot to the way the child is going to interpret. So that was like my story. That was
Well,
most
who
of my
told
experience.
you that you are an unwanted child?
I interpreted everything that way. That was the way I interpreted my situation.
No, but you just told us now that before you were born, that your parents were not ready. You got that information from somewhere.
Yeah, I got that interpretation. I got that. Maybe practically my parents maybe never verbalized it to me.
Right.
But everything, I wasn't a child any longer growing up, and I could interpret situations. I could, interpret situations. I could tell practically what is going on. So those were like situations for me that marked most of my early childhood growing up. I struggled a lot with those. And then it came to a point in my life when expectations now began to rise. My parents were setting very high expectations for me. Maybe in Africa, it's like the norm in most families, and this is one of the things that destroy many children at their childhood. Very, very high expectations. The expectations were so high that I couldn't meet every one of them. And when expectations are not met, then that is when a lot of, now I really want to use the word physical abuse, like a lot of flogging and a lot of, if maybe spanking a child could be okay, yeah, but there is a way you spank a child that...
Who was beating you?
My dad specifically. My mom did less of corrections and all of that, but my dad took more of the disciplinary.
Was he beating you with anger or with some hatred?
Exactly. That is the way I say. I couldn't relate. I couldn't picture love in many of the corrections and many of the spanking and all of that. I couldn't really draw out some of those. I couldn't draw love.
But your father was a pastor.
Yeah, exactly. He was. So maybe that is also another factor, because sometimes pastors' kids are expected to be more upright, to be more. So sometimes the correction level is so we practically are cracking when we are too compressed and too pressed. So that was the situation. The expectations were so, and when I wasn't meeting to some of the expectations, then a lot of hurtful words were used. Many of the words that were used that were names that were called, that I was called and all of that, because when authority figures in a child life, when you use certain words on a person, for life, that person may not forget those words. If someone is called those names outside, for example, if I was called names outside, maybe it wouldn't really matter to me. But if people that are very close to me, begin to use certain words and names and all of that, then they stick. And they become the yardstick by which I begin to measure myself. But also, incidentally, I was doing well at school. I was really a great child when it comes to academics. I really never had any struggles academically. At the time, I even won the National Mathematics Award in my country. But all those things, I was made celebrated outside. But when the people that matter to me in life weren't celebrating, they weren't connecting, they weren't sharing the joy, they weren't seeing what other people were seeing, all of the greatness and potential that maybe other people at one point or the other pointed my attention to. When the people who matter to me in life weren't celebrating that, then all of that didn't mean.
So your father didn't know that you were brilliant?
He definitely.
So how did he respond to that?
It didn't mean much to him. He didn't.
So did he know that you were doing well in your class?
Absolutely. I was being celebrated everywhere, sir.
So when you bring your result home, what will your dad say?
Okay, when I brought results home, oftentimes it sounds something like, it could be better. This is mathematics, you had maybe an 80%. Well, why not a 90%? Why not a, I'm saying all of this not because I made.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the situation. You have still not communicated to us the rejection.
So for example, when I bring home a result, it's often something like, it could be better. Like I'm expecting people to celebrate me because maybe, for example, consistently I've been ahead in class, and everybody is talking about that. But when I'm home, I want everybody to also bring that joy, to celebrate with me, to celebrate me like a great kid.
Because maybe your dad was saying that your result was bad.
Yes.
No, maybe it was not complimenting you because you were underperforming or something.
Absolutely no, sir.
Okay, give us some statistics. What are the marks you had, and what would your dad complain if you had good marks?
Okay. Let me share this particular incident. Maybe it will make the picture clearer. All through my elementary school, I consistently was the first in all of my classes.
Okay.
There was even a time that I was moved like 2 classes ahead.
Okay.
And I spent just 1 week in the new class before I began to be the best ever again. So I was just like that gifted. Okay. I knew that I was gifted that way. Okay. But my family wasn't seeing that. They weren't celebrating.
What did they say?
They were saying that, so oftentimes they make you feel like this is normal. Sometimes they make you feel like you can do better. Sometimes they make you feel like, this is you're not doing anything
special.
Yeah, so oftentimes I was being compared to other people. I was being compared to people perhaps maybe in other places who could, or now the biggest problem now is even domestic issues. Like for example, if I spill water or I speak, then I'm called names. Then I'm told, if truly you are that smart, can you really be spilling things? Can you really be breaking? I don't know if you get the picture now, sir. So it's like, okay, you think you are doing well mathematically, and here you're breaking things at all. That's You're really dumb. You're really not that smart. So all those things it was breaking my walls of confidence. And then to make matter worse, to complicate my life, absolutely now. When I go to school now, because I was losing a lot of my confidence, of course, Pastor, you shared also about having height issues with.
Yes,
among other children.
I was very short.
So I'm also like not smallish and not tall. So other children I think they began to see those punctures in my life, and they were taking advantage of it. The truth of the matter was that I was bullied at school also, and they gave me a nickname. They used to mock me. They would say prof. Prof should sound good, but they make it sound in a very bad way, like prof, like just to mock me, basically to mock my academic excellence and everything like that. It was at that point really of my life that I was crashing. My inferiority complex went so high, my confidence just plummeted, went totally low. So I'm sharing all of these stories because I know there are thousands and millions of children back home in Africa, in homes, especially Christian homes, who are going through.
So you told me yesterday that, for example, you come home, let's say 9 subjects,
yes,
and you get A.
Yes.
No, tell us about that story.
Oh, great. So eventually, when I was to write my
school living
certificate, WAEC in my school, I attended a federal school. And while I was preparing, I was trying to gather confidence, because that exam normally is, everyone is only, no matter how brilliant you are, you are nervous about it. So I was expecting confidence from people, from especially my parents and from everywhere. But then my dad, I remember a specific word my dad said to me, and this is why I'm sharing this story, really, to help a lot of fathers out there and people, because there are things when you say to a child you will never forget. So he said to me that you can't really pass this exam. He said that to me. He said, you can't really pass this exam.
But in school before then, have you been doing bad? Have you been performing? Because there must be a reason for him to say you cannot pass WAEC or school living certificate. Have you been a bad student leading to that WAEC or school living certificate?
Absolutely not. I was doing excellently well. All through my life, I was always among the top 3 in my class. If not the top, I will always be in any subject. I'll always be among the top 3. I was just that gifted academically.
So leading to that school living certificate, you were also doing well.
Yes. So, in retrospect, maybe he said that to
motivate,
maybe to challenge me or something, but I didn't interpret it as such.
Okay.
That wasn't the picture I got, and because I was already down with confidence and everything, so it was just all of the. I remember many times in my secondary school, I would just go. I had this spot in my school there where I would just go to and cry. So things never. So when it said that, it wasn't maybe. I didn't see it as motivation. And maybe there are a lot of parents who I know.
So when the result came out, what happened?
So when the result eventually came out, I made 8 distinctions and 1 credit. I made just 1 C4.
You made what?
8 distinctions.
8 distinctions.
Yes.
That is A1.
No, like A's and B's.
A's and B's. Okay,
Yes.
you made 8 distinctions
Yes.
in your WAEC.
Yes, and 1C for
And
English.
just 1C.
Yes, sir.
1C.
Yes.
So that's a very good result in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
From school living certificate. So what did your father do? What was the response of your parents?
Okay, my dad, when he got my results, he was extremely happy. He was rolling on the floor. He said, "This is the best result he has ever seen in the family and everything." And I remember specifically that time that he even wanted to hug me, but those things never. I went to my room, I locked myself up, and I began to really, really cry.
Why?
I was crying because I think I did all of what I did in work. I put in all of my best just to make a statement, just to prove to myself or to, but I wasn't feeling the love. I wasn't feeling, that was actually, all that I wanted was that love. All that I wanted was just somebody to love me, to accept me. I didn't mind about WAEC result or all of those. Those things never mattered as such to me because I will pass. No, that wasn't the big deal. But the most important at that time was just that nobody believed in me. And now I've gone all the way to just make a statement to myself, to prove to myself that I'm
But why were you not happy? Because you still didn't feel, even though your father was happy.
Yes, sir.
But that didn't translate to acceptance.
At all.
So he was happy for a result, but not for you.
Absolutely.
So you didn't feel his acceptance. You only feel that he was happy for your result.
Exactly. So my results.
You also told me that when you were in the boarding school, you would not like to go back home.
Absolutely. Well, when I was in high school, I was in boarding house. I went to a federal school in Nigeria. And when other kids were going on, I just wanted to stay back. In fact, school for me was more like a place to hibernate, to be safe, to, just where I could do my own things. I could maybe play if I wanted to play. I could read if I wanted to read. There wasn't anybody every time of the day buzzing me around and all of that. So most times during the holidays, I would just stay back. I would,
Then you used to go to the bush. Why? To cry?
So many reasons. One is that, like I said, one of the greatest emotional need of everyone is acceptance, is love. And when I wasn't getting that, so many reasons caused that. When I wasn't getting that love, I could see what was happening with. I compared myself a lot, and that is one of the things that inferior people do. Compared myself a lot with other kids in school and everything, what they had and what I didn't have, or what and all
their
of those
parents,
things,
how
their parents and all that. So everything was just, I could interpret one thing that happened in a million ways. So all those things many times was making me cry. I would go and cry. And also, of course, like I said, I was comparing myself with other kids in school, a lot of comparisons. So even though I was beating them hands down when it comes to academics and stuff, but when it comes to life, I wasn't as confident as they were. I wasn't, that they could talk, they could.
Now, when I saw you,
Yes.
I feel that you told me yourself that you have a passion for leadership.
Yes.
But I see in you that you are supposed to be a scientist,
yes,
or to actually be inventing something, or a researcher, somebody who is supposed to be good and great, in science world.
Yes.
But why did you go to study medicine? Why are you in medicine school?
Well, maybe like every other parent in Africa, majority of them, medicine was my dad's dream. It was
your dad's dream?
Yeah, it was my dad's dream, and it was his suggestion and all of that. Because at that point, nobody listened. I didn't even have a voice. Nobody was asking what I wanted to study, or nobody cared about what do you want to study.
Okay.
And because
just a minute.
Yes.
The reason, you guys, for you to know why we are doing all this, you remember the topic is how inferiority complex hampers your calling. What I'm saying is that inferiority complex could hamper your calling. So what this is leading to is that we have heard the story of inferiority complex, that success has suffered, but now let's go back to the area of calling. This has direct relation to his calling, to his destiny. So, like I've just told you what I saw in him, that he was supposed to be a scientist or an inventor, or somebody who is supposed to be great out there, somebody in the class of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and things like that. But he just said that he went into medicine because that's what his dad wanted. And it's true. He's right here, a medical student in this university. Almost all Nigerians that are brilliant are medical students. So he's one of them. And I see so many of those people in medical schools. Almost even yesterday, we were here with some of my members, where a lady from our church was saying, all Nigerians that I know in this country are medical students. Everybody is a medical student. What's wrong with you? You don't have any other profession in your country? Only everybody medical student? So that is the thing. So because of inferiority complex, parents, impose their will upon children, and people, because they cannot stand their ground, they cannot, pursue their own dream, because of the inferiority complex, they just do what other people tell them to do. So why did you go into politics? I mean, into medicine?
Millions of children in Africa, really, when it's time to take an educational course or something, nobody asks you what you want to study. Nobody studies you and say you are very good at this, or it's always about our parents' dream. It's always about what our parents wanted, And for me, that was just it. I couldn't argue. And I was good academic, and more so, I had to prove my worth to everyone, to them constantly. Because if, for example, I have to apply to medical school and I'm not getting medicine, it's also like a statement to myself that, oh, you don't measure up. Why will some other people get into medical school and you didn't make perhaps the cut off and all of that? So we see like getting to medicine or getting to engineering as law as big family celebrations. So it's often not about what you are called to do. Nobody understands calling. Nobody understands it. Nobody talks about the concept of calling and all of that. In retrospect, now, if I look at my life, I look at all of what has happened to me, and I see that everything is just attacking, like, the main thing that I was born to do, my inferiority. For example, I'll give an example, sir. Oftentimes in the family, or maybe around, they call me one nickname, very terrible name, really. Very, very terrible name. They call it Kerama Jelly, that is the one who can't take initiative.
Who cannot take initiative.
Who cannot take initiative. The one who's, like, if you tell him to...
devoid of initiative.
Yeah, it's the one, if you tell him to sit here, he's going to sit there all day and he's not going to do anything. True, at that time in my life, that was what I was. I had to, because of fear, because of, I didn't want to be beaten, I didn't want to control, and I had to. But I could be sitting somewhere and I would have traveled the world in my mind, because I had my greatest skill in my life is creative. I have a very, very creative mind.
You see?
I could use ideas to solve.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That is what I see in you.
Yes,
creative
sir.
mind,
Yes.
like Steve Jobs.
Yes, sir. So I have...
But they use that to control you.
To control.
And they now call you nickname because of that.
So I couldn't take initiative. And those things were being repeated again and again and again. So till I got into the university, I was practically useless. Like, practically useless. My life at that time, I can say really right now with every confidence that my life really at those times wasn't worth living. Because it was I was living a lot of fear, I was living a lot of control, and it was just very tough for me, very, very tough at that time. Many times at least 3 times I contemplated suicide in life. 3 times. I contemplated of giving up, that it wasn't really worth it. So everything was attacking the main thing, which is what inferiority complex does. It comes for the main thing that you're good at. For me, it was creative skill, which is my greatest skill, and my greatest passion, which is leadership, really. Do things think outside of the box and make things happen. So it was when I got to the university that maybe I was in certain organizations or all of that, and I could use my idea. I was giving people a lot of ideas. But let's do these things this way. We could go about things this way. And people saw a lot of this creativity and skill. So oftentimes I was made a leader of many student groups and organizations that, okay, so I was, it was at that time that certain level of confidence, maybe in traces, began to come back to me that maybe I'm really not so dull at all. Maybe at least these people want to listen to me, want to hear about my ideas. People are seeking me out. So at that time I was getting some level of self-worth, some level of self-confidence, coming back to me in those areas.
What happened to you when you met with Pastor Sunday? What did the meeting with Pastor Sunday do to you?
Absolutely. I wouldn't forget that in my entire life.
What happened?
two things, apart from some of the things I've shared before about pastor.
No, you have to share it now because people are not the same.
Okay,
Different
sir.
people come.
All right. When I met Pastor Sunday, initially I never even thought I could meet Pastor Sunday. Coming to Ukraine, I never thought I could meet Pastor Sunday because I was thinking someone of Pastor Sunday's caliber wouldn't want to meet with. Who was I? Really. So initially I came to meet Pastor. Somebody referred to me to meet with Pastor. And when I came to meet with Pastor, it was just very awesome, absolutely awesome. Pastor received me, he hugged me, that was so special to me. For somebody of his caliber and of his age to hug me that warm, that tight. So I definitely knew I was in the right place. So after that reception and everything that Pastor gave to me, and we started to talk, we introduced ourselves, we shared different things. Two things that Pastor said to me that I would never ever forget in a hurry. One of which was, Pastor said to me, he looked at the way I was doing things and some of I was doing what I was doing around, and Pastor said to me, he said, you should really stop thinking like a slave. He said, he said he wants to help me stop thinking with a slave mentality. And that hit me so hard because definitely I knew I wasn't confident. I knew I was battling, inferiority complex and everything. And for Pastor, at my first meeting with him, to have identified, the fact that I was thinking so low. I was thinking, so Pastor was able to help me, in that area to build self-confidence, to start building self-confidence again, with responsibility, with acceptance, with a lot of encouragement, celebrating me where I succeeded and, correcting me very sensitively where I failed and all of those things. So it was very, very special meeting with Pastor Sunday. It was absolutely awesome.
So two things you said, right?
Yes,
one was
you telling me that I really, really need to stop thinking like as a slave, that I needed that to stop.
But I never knew that. I don't even remember I said that. Did we?
From the first encounter, you could pick that out of me. Because you saw that, I think one of the experience, you saw that I was treating you more specially.
Yeah, you were treating me. Okay, now I remember. Now I remember that because you were always, what happened was that he was coming to me in my presence. Everybody, all of them are like that, but he was one of them. He was always bowing down and saying, hello, sir. I wanted to hug him. He would not hug me. He would be lying. He was trying to prostrate. I wanted to hug him. I said, hug me. He was going down. I was trying to hug him. He was going down. I said, hug me. Why are you behaving? You are worth. You deserve to be hugged. I mean, you're a human being like me. Don't bow to me. Don't go down. Hug me. Feel the love. You deserve to be hugged. You deserve to be loved. So, but I think that is what you were talking about. I can't remember what I said. So what did you say that I said? Because I couldn't remember the reconnect. Now I'm recollecting. Yes.
So you told me specifically that one of the things you will do with me is to help me stop thinking like a slave.
Yes.
To stop that slavery mentality. And,
yes, because it is slavery mentality that makes you to think that because I'm Pastor Sunday or because I'm Pastor, I cannot, because I never met you before, I never spoke to you. You even said you never expected to see me here in the house. You never expected to meet me. I said, so why did you come? Oh, I said, because there's an event going on here. Maybe some of the pastors will be teaching. I said, but you came to Pastor Sunday's event and you thought you would never meet me? And then you explained to me that because that's what is obtainable at home. Yes. That people though might, go to pastors' events, even your own pastor, you might not even be able to meet him. So I began to understand what you were talking about. I said, but it's maybe in a big conference you'll not be able to meet, but this is my house. This is, I'm seeing you. And you said, yeah, but still for you to come to me, that I came to you, to come and greet you, to come and approach you, to come and hug you. And the way I saw that you are, thinking, behaving as if you don't deserve that. But you already deserve it, not because of your position, but because of who you are in Christ. So that's why I was talking about that slavery. That you don't, you have to get yourself free from that slave mentality. But what did that do to you, that particular statement? How did that affect you?
Well, before that time, I knew I had crisis. So it wasn't even about acceptance an issue for me at all. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge on many grounds because, well, I saw the way you related with people. I saw the way you accepted people. So I definitely, that for me was taking me back to the origin of my crisis, of my problem. Because that's, I saw, sir, how much I treasured that warmth and that embrace. You know, because maybe no male figure in my life ever hugged me that way, ever, and this is...
Your dad never hugged you?
No. So it's a big, it's really, you know, you correct when you say
your father. I'm talking your father.
Absolutely not, sir. It's maybe more of a cultural thing. Maybe not only me. Maybe a lot of, but I never got that experience. So it meant so much to me, Pastor. And I really thank you.
You talk about challenge. What challenge?
So it challenged me to work on myself.
What?
To work on in the area of my mind, in the area of, because now I understand one thing now. That's like the Bible says that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So there's the level of the mind in which that is my conscious mind where I can thoughts. Like for example, I could say, okay, I'm going to meet with Pastor Sunday and I'm going to talk about these issues and these issues with him. But because in my heart, I'm still like a slave in my subconscious. The heart is that subconscious realm. Eventually, when I get to meet with you, I will just lose words. Or I wouldn't be able to say what I want to say. And this is what has affected many, many people's destiny because they are really grasshoppers in the heart. Even though in the mind they have ideas, they have thoughts, they have great things they want to achieve. So I knew that, okay, I needed to work a lot, so much on my mind. I need to unprogram so many things that have been there and put in a new set of programs such that in my heart, in my subconscious, I become a giant. So it doesn't matter, I will begin to act as a giant wherever I get to, just subconsciously, whatever situation that confronts me, I begin to act like that. And that was what I saw in you. Because I saw it was not because of what you were thinking. I saw the way you reacted to people, to situations, and I knew it wasn't what you were thinking at the time. It was just who you were in the heart. It was who you were in the subconscious, in your subconscious realm. That was why you reacted the way you reacted to people and things the way you did. So for me, it was a challenge. I got a lot of books and messages. I went on so many personal retreats again and again because I knew if I was going to be, you told me, the second thing you told me.
Okay, what was the second thing?
The second thing you told me, you said you can measure how far a man will go in life by just the measure of confidence that he has. I will never also forget that in life. You said the measure of confidence that a man has in life, the measure of how confident that you can measure how far somebody is going to go, how great he's going to become, just by how confident he is. So when you said that again, it was a load of challenge. I left the first HMT with just that singular challenge to go work on my mind, the way I think, the way I related with people, to understand that nobody is superior
to
anybody in life. The goal of the oppressor every time is always to crush the spirit, to make you feel inadequate, like subservient, that you are not good enough, you are not deserving. And the problem oftentimes is not even what the oppressor does, but it's when you begin to believe them, when it begins to set in the subconscious.
So you needed to work on those two things. One.
Yes. So I needed to work on the fact that I had a slavery mentality, like a slave mentality, which is thinking.
I needed to know that I'm worthy.
Yes,
I can do anything. I can become anybody.
That I'm worthy, basically. That I'm worthy. The fact that I'm human makes me worthy.
Okay,
and
that's
then,
number one.
Yes, and then I needed to go work on my confidence level. I needed to go work
that I can achieve anything.
I can achieve anything. I can do anything. I can become anybody. I can do whatever. And most importantly, I can stand on my own. I can stand on my own because for people who feel inferior, we always feel like they need people.
They need somebody.
They need somebody. They are control.
I need the pastor. I need the church. I need some.
Absolutely, sir. Now you're getting the situation of Africa as it is. That is the problem. So they always feel needy. Always feel
make you dependent.
Dependent. That is the word. Dependent. Dependency spirit. Always like for example, if you have an issue, some people sometimes even as small as having a bad dream, they have to call somebody or relate to, And when it comes to finances, it comes to a whole new level entirely.
They always depend on other people?
Yes, because a slave mentality is a dependency mentality, is a dependent spirit. In fact, sir, I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but one of the things I discovered doing all of this, working on myself, was the fact that this is one of the biggest problems of Africa. Africa, we have the African Union. That is all African countries coming together. And when they were to build their headquarters in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, the headquarters was actually built for us by China. $200 million. We are saying that the whole of Africa. So it's always that kind of dependency spirit. We always need the IMF to borrow us loan. We always need other countries to come to our aid and all that. So it has shattered everything. If anybody is going to really help us as a continent and as a nation, then it has to be a lot of work on the mind. And that was what you began with me helping me with.
So how does that relate to your calling? That encounter and those two things, yes. How do they relate to your calling and your destiny?
Okay, so like with overcoming my slavery mentality, I knew that one, I didn't have to be dependent. I didn't have to be subservient, that I am whole on my own. That I'm packaged by God. I have a destiny to fulfill, not what somebody else wants me to fulfill or what somebody else wants me to do. At that time, I want to just breathe. I want to live.
Started breathing.
Breathing.
So it's like a breath of fresh air.
Fresh air. I want to be on my. There are things that are on my mind. That I have passion. I have dreams. Everybody has those things. They may be suppressed by the situation and the condition around them, but it's still present in them if everybody will look deep down within them. So even though inferiority complex was weighing down on some of those things, and we go to class and many times, because I have a creative mind, many of the things that the teacher is saying, in my mind I'm thinking we could bring a perspective, but I'm thinking if I talk to a teacher like this, wouldn't they see me as maybe rude or rebellious, or what do you know, you are just a student and all of that. So I couldn't talk at that time. But then, with confidence, I was able to bring a lot of creativity to my class. It's always very interesting when I'm able to challenge conventional thinking, when I'm able to bring perspective. Many of the ideas I have, I may not have the materials right now to implement them, but I'm definitely sure, without any doubt in my heart, that I'm going to implement all of those ideas. So I could breathe, I could challenge anybody or conventional thinking.
So overcoming inferiority complex can really enhance your calling and your destiny.
Yes, sir. Without overcoming inferiority complex, one will not even start on the journey of his call at all. He will be living another man's life all the days of his life. Either he could be living for experience, or living for the family, or living for the society, or living for public opinion, or living for what people is the reason why control is the reason why people suffer inferiority complex. They have a lot of things they want to prove for people. They just want to, many times they just want to achieve money. They want to achieve worldwide fame, or if you are into music or something, you want to be known, hoping that thing will help.
But it is inferiority complex that leads to conformity.
Yes, sir. Conformity, depression.
So even those ones who strive to just be rich like every other person, so that they will be accepted.
Absolutely.
Just like you went to study medicine,
yes, sir.
Because so that you'll be accepted by your father, so that the society.
Yes.
So those things that people are telling in Africa, that you just go and study medicine, engineering, or law,
yes,
is because of his acceptance. The inferiority complex that will want them to have status where they are accepted.
Absolutely. So it's just about status. It's about, let me prove a point to people. And then oftentimes the greatest problem now is that when that has been achieved, because calling has been set aside, there is no fulfillment. So somebody could be like a music artist, like an artist, achieve worldwide fame, and yet there's still that emptiness on the inside, or there's because you are practically living
or a lawyer or a medical,
or a successful doctor. I've seen a lot of consultants, have heard a lot of consultants, medical consultants, who said that they are not fulfilled. That they are just
in your school, for example. What do you know? People also who are studying medicine, who that is not their calling. They know that, and you know it, and they know it.
So I was joking with one of my friends that I haven't been in medical school for this long and known the environment quite well. That 90% of the people that I see in medical school were not called to be medical.
90%?
More than
in Nigeria?
All over. I'm very, very especially sure of this environment in Ukraine. that 90%.
The students.
The students are
Nigerian students.
Nigerian students are more than 90% were not called to do medicine.
But they didn't have the that goes to the second point, yeah? They didn't have the confidence that to say no.
Nobody does.
Or to be confident enough to pursue their own dream. Yes. Tell me about that. So the second lesson you said you got from me,
yes, sir.
It's about that confidence. Eh?
Yeah, it's about confidence. The first is about slavery mentality, when you don't have to be subservient. You can't. You stand on your own.
You deserve to be your person.
You deserve to be your own person. You're a person. You're a package. You've got placed in a family. It's just the environment to nurture and to culture. It is not to make you. You are already made. So you are just put in a place just to be unfolded for love and acceptance, and to bring what is inside already out.
That's the first one.
That is the first one. And the second one is the confidence to now be who you really ought to be the best in anything you want to be, just go live at that.
So those 90% of the people in the medical school,
yes.
What's the factor of the confidence there?
Okay, now for them now,
how is the lack of confidence making them to be the way they are?
Now lack of confidence never was able to make them say no. Was to their parents,
or to the demand of the society. That if you are brilliant, you must study medicine.
Yes, and another important factor also is the fact that, like for example, in Africa, we believe in like my friend said the other time, we believe in career courses, professional courses. We believe that it's only doctors and lawyers and engineers or accountants that can make it. So if somebody, for example, is maybe into agriculture or some of these production courses, we look at them,
or mechanic.
They think that they can't make it. They think they can't survive economically. They think they can't be the best. They think they can't achieve worldwide fame and all of that. So that is another factor of confidence, because they don't have enough faith in themselves to know that I can be who I want to be.
So that's the confidence factor.
Yeah, it's a confidence factor, because they are not able to become who they ought to become, to be the best.
The confidence to pursue their dream.
Dream. And to also know that I'm not going to be needy, I'm not going to be poor, I'm not going to be impoverished pursuing my passion and my calling. So it takes a lot of confidence to do that. It takes a lot of confidence to stand out of the status quo, out of the norm, to
stand on your own.
Stand on your own. Everybody's doing this. And for you to say no.
To go against the tide.
The tide. You are going against the majority. So it's just like, for example, my friends, out of like maybe 8 of my friends, maybe 6 of them are in medical school. And then they say, what are you studying? And I say, I'm studying physics,
philosophy.
I'm not respected. Nobody respects that way. So it's about confidence to stand on your own, to be able to know, okay, this thing that I've got inside of me, the seed that God has placed inside of me is enough to sustain me, is enough to make me the best, is enough to give me a name.
How has your life changed since you met Pastor Sunday?
So now, on these 2 levels, one, I've gotten of course, got the Lord and a lot on my mind. So now I really, absolutely, I can stand on my own. I believe that anywhere, doesn't matter. Put me in the middle of a desert, the seed inside of me, we bring water, we bring everything that I need into the middle of that desert. And then the second is the confidence for me to now even go pursue what God has placed inside of me, to pursue my dream. Right now, I'm really not scared of people. I'm not, people's opinion or what people think or people's expectations and all of that. That's helped me a lot to be able to stand on my own, to challenge status quo. It's one of the things I do a lot, to bring new ideas, new innovations, dream new dreams, and find out ways that it can be implemented. So one of the things that, Pastor, you've helped me achieve a lot, working again and again on my mind. And you also told me some of the best things. You've seen the potential that I carry, which is, for me, most precious. When the same way the inferiority complex works, I think is the same with confidence. Regularly to somebody's mind till he believes it. And confidence also is about speaking very positive things to somebody till he absorbs it and he believes it by himself and he begins to act it out. So your daily words of encouragement, you're speaking very positive words over me, you're giving me tasks and believing in me to do what I can do, letting me release my creativity and You don't conform me. You don't give me this is how and how and how. You just tell me what you expect. You tell me the standards, and I just go look inside of myself and see how to get the job done. So that's a lot has helped. It has.
So the freedom. Yes. So to giving you the freedom to express yourself, to be yourself, to be myself, also boosts confidence.
Absolutely, sir. Because it took the leadership in you to know that I already carry greatness inside, and that you don't have to.
So that's also trust. Me trusting you.
Trust, yes.
Makes you to do what? What does that trust? My trust in you. What does it do to you?
So the trust makes me understand that for it to be given to me, I already carry what it takes to get it done on the inside. So I don't even, you tell me oftentimes that, it's not about copying your method or your style or how you do things. It's about, for me to be original, to be me. I don't have to copy your temperament. I've listened to a lot of your teachings on that when you say, I don't have to copy your temperament. I don't have to copy your style of dressing. Or I have to be me, to be original, and just express freely that whatever thing I carry on the inside. So that trust helps a lot. It helped my confidence quite much, very, very much.
Now, do you now know your calling?
Absolutely, sir.
Could you tell us about your calling, your dreams, and your pursuits?
Absolutely. Your Thank you so much, sir. I have one great passion in life, and my great passion is leadership. Leadership is helping people to be the best of who they are called to be, and to help them use that to serve maximally their generation, whatever thing they want to be. Pastor has shown me that you can rise from any level. It doesn't matter what the world has done to you. You have a choice, either to be crushed or to let it toughen you and be the best and convert it to your strength. So my passion is leadership, to help everyone realize the leadership in them and become the best that they are meant to be. And I have the great gift of creativity, creative thinking. Creative thinking is really it doesn't take me anything to look. When I look at things, I can derive like 100 ways or different ways by which things can be combined and things can be done. So I'm constantly using that to help people, to help them discover what they were meant to be, and when it comes career-wise, your pastor has spoken over me again and again that I can use this creative thinking to be one of the best inventors. So I already told my friends some ideas I already had and some things like that. I'm always thinking about coming up with new ideas. Every day God gives me a new idea. So it's just for me now to be bold, confident, and find systems and structures to implement those things.
Yeah, not just to be bold now, but since you know that, because everything God gives us always comes in form of a seed.
Yes, sir.
So that thing in creativity that you already have, that is your nature. That is your calling. That is your calling. That is what God has built in you.
Yes.
Now, leadership is your passion,
yes,
but this is your calling.
Yes,
so that your calling, it comes as a seed. Now, for you to really maximize it, the key is to develop it. The key is to magnify, find ways to add value to it. It's just like saying you have flair for a musical instrument.
Yes.
You could play, but if practicing
yes.
and rehearsals, they germinate them, they cultivate them, they develop them. So the ability, the way to use creativity technically, through computers, developing that skill, magnifying, it and growing it. That's what it's called, tilling your ground. So you have to till that ground. You have to till that creativity in you, and that is what now giving back to different things. And the leadership aspect of it is that you are not just called to be creative yourself, but to help others. Leadership is leading others and developing others and unveiling others and discovering others and making them to come to the maximum potential and realization that is already in them. So those are great combinations, leadership and creativity. If anybody that has that, they can change the world. Because the thing that made Steve Jobs to change the world is not just its creativity, yes, but leadership. It goes to show, yes. It shows the whole world, it leads the whole world in the way to do this. Leadership is sharp new ways. Bill Gates, the thing that made him not just the creativity, but the leadership. I will put this in everybody's house. I will initiativeness. That's what leaders do. So those two combinations, they are dangerous. For example, I know that I have leadership.
Yes.
But I'm not sure I have creativity. But I have critical thinking.
Yes.
So critical thinking and leadership is what I am using. But you have creativity.
Yes,
I have creativity too. But I try to develop it and look for it. But if you have it naturally and leadership, and then you magnify and amplify those two, so research, finding ways of how to maximally create and things, and to develop creativity and magnify that potential of creativity, and and amplify that potential of creativity, and also leadership, magnify it, provoke it even. There is nothing. In fact, if you don't leave your mark on history, if the whole world doesn't get to know and recognize you, even me, I will call you a waste. Because with that kind of combination, I mean, I don't know how you could forgive yourself, or even God could forgive you. So now, but the problem, what makes people stop, is that they are limited because they don't know that they have to add value and magnify that creativity itself, and that those two potential gifts. Their initial gifts only come as a seed. That seed has to mature to become a fruit. That seed has to be mature to become a tree. And the process of seed becoming a tree is a whole long process. That is the process that really matters. The ability for you to turn that seed into a tree. And that will now bring forth fruits. But to go beyond that and make those seeds that you are having, those are different seeds, ideas, to make them to become a forest. That is what I have done. And that's what you are going to do. But, and then to put that in, the leadership is what makes you to make the seed to become not just a tree. Working on yourself is what makes it to become a tree. Magnifying, working, and but leadership is what makes it to be magnified, amplified, and to make that tree become the forest. So those two things, I mean, the ideas, it takes the seed to become a fruit, the idea to become product. That takes hard work. That takes adding value to yourself. That takes developing yourself, skills and things like that. But you cannot get all that in medicine. Medicine is too small. You get all that through self-education. Self-education, study, researching by yourself. So, what are these, because now you talk to me freely.
Yes.
You correct me. Yes. You bring ideas to me. Yes. You share yourself with me. You are with me all the time. Yes. You come anytime you want. Yes. What do you think this will do for your destiny, or what has it done for your destiny?
For my destiny, I'm free. Really, that is what it has done. Now I'm living. I can practically say now that I'm living. I was able to go back to my past and understand the root cause of my problem.
Okay.
I was able to, because that is taking responsibility. It's not about being hungry. I'm not hungry. That I'm not angry with anybody. I've forgiven whoever. Nobody hurts me right now. But it's about me taking responsibility that, okay, I was hurt and I need to deal with this. And if anybody's listening to me right now and having issues with inferiority complex, you have to understand that you were not born with it. Somebody spoke certain things, or you thought about that by yourself in a certain way. So it's for you to take, first of all, take responsibility for it and uproot it. And with the same way that those negative seeds have been planted, then it has to uproot and the new seed of confidence, being sown into you. And sometimes I think, so I don't know if I'm to suggest, but sometimes I think this is where mentorship comes to, because mentorship for me has given me a lot of leverage in life. A lot of leverage. Oftentimes I used to tell my friends that, okay, maybe if I never met Pastor Sunday, I wonder what my life really would have become. I would have been a chicken. I would have died like every other regular person in the world. When, of course, I knew that something kept telling me from, even when I was going through some of my crises, the reason why I didn't kill myself, of course, my mom, I was thinking, what will it do to her? And two, something kept telling me that I was born for something greater. So those things kept me, and then when I met Pastor Sunday, he was able to unleash, he was able to speak words over me constantly again and again, to the extent that now I sit at table with Pastor, we discuss very freely, like a father-son relationship. So that leverage has given me massive points ahead in life.
But people should know that you are not living in Kiev. You are not living in the same city as me.
Yes.
But you are still getting maximum from me. People should know that it takes that self-discipline, self-education. How do you learn most from me? Do you listen? Do you follow? What happens? And people know how to work on themselves.
Absolutely. I told somebody
Since the first time we met.
Yes, sir. I told somebody that there is no single day of my life since the last 2 years that we met. The minimum that ever happened is in fact, I gave myself a target of reading all your books. Right now, I've read more than 15 of your books. And every day I listen to at least one of your message, either of yours or Dr. Miles Monroe's message, at least one every day. That is the minimum I ever do. Sometimes I listen to as much as 5. Sometimes I go on my retreats and just keep, because it's a mind thing. So, and for the greatest work is always to change the mind and how, because we've been configured, either you like it or not, as an African perhaps, or maybe as a regular, there is a way you have been wired, you have been configured to think. And if you are going to change that, then there has to be it's like you unload a software and you have to reprogram a software. You can believe that is not going to be easy. So it's a lot of work, a lot of reading. One of my greatest hobbies is reading. Get a lot of Pastor Sunday's books. I'm always reading Pastor Sunday's books, always listening to Pastor Sunday's messages. I have your messages on my phone and everything. I have an headset. Just constantly.
And this daily broadcast, you probably listen?
I'm stuck to the daily broadcast. I'm always everybody, of course, on the forum. If I go to school, when I come back, I listen. I pick a message and listen again and again. And we are the least opportunity that I have, I'm here at your house.
Are you really feel any change or difference?
Absolutely.
For listening, for hearing me every day?
This is totally transformational. This is not who I used to be. I personally know this is not who I used to be. Right now, if you put me in front of Obama, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to give him my days. I have words, practically like having words for everybody. That confidence level just surged. So I thank God for that experience. I thank God. Yes, sir. I could share this. One of the things I discovered while trying to work on myself is the fact that inferiority complex and all of the damage that the environment tries to do aims at the best and the greatest in your life. Because if there wasn't something particular about that, the devil is a strategic fighter. Your environment, they fight strategically the greatest thing in your life. In 1 Samuel chapter 14, the Bible was talking of how the Philistines took the goldsmith, or what do you call people who make weapons? Huh?
Yeah,
the weaponsmiths of Israel. So out of everything, they didn't come for priests, they didn't come for pastors, they went for those weaponsmiths, the people who make weapons and all that. Such that they came when Israel was to go to war and they had no weapon. So the devil's strategy was very, very strategic. The most important thing is what you have to capture. So I saw the most important things in my life was what the enemy was trying to capture: my leadership spirit, my creative thinking. That was what everybody was saying. You are not creative. You can't take initiative. They call me all sort of nicknames too, So I had to do a lot of reprogramming, and for me to come into who I am, and of course to begin to take steps about who I want to be. So it's absolutely transformational.
Okay, listening to all those messages of Pastor Sunday has changed you or is helping to change you. When you are listening to this man, you think, okay, this is a human being also. And he's also a Nigerian. Well, what do you discover? Just listening.
Initially, it was very